All right, guys, it's time to talk about the San Jose Sharks. After another season at the bottom of the barrel, where they barely put up 20 wins and only the 52 points on the season, it was pretty disappointing, but it was also quite a fun season watching some of these young kids and what they can do. Celebrini, Smith, Eklund going another step. Uh, and it's going to be pretty much the same but with a new guy because they picked up Michael Misa in the draft. So adding another young prospect to this absolutely exciting list of prospects. Let's have a look at that lineup, Jaden, and see how it's shaping out with, the 15 stupidly good young prospects that this team has.
Yeah, so projected lineup here: Skinner, Celebrini, Smith, Eklund, Misa, Toffoli, Kurashev, Wenberg, Graf, Goudreau, Delandria, Gaudet. On the decor, Ferrero, Lilligren, Leddy, Klingberg, Mukabadulin, Orlov, and in goals, Askarov and Nedeljkovic. There's a lot of ins and outs. So just notable trades. Obviously, bringing in Nedeljkovic, Ryan Reeves, Henry Thrun out, and uh, bringing in Carey Price, the highest paid player, for a LaRoque. Uh, in regards to free agent signings, there's a fair few here. Dmitry Orlov, they're really their highest paid signing at 6.5 mil. Then you got Klingberg, Jeff Skinner, Gaudet, Kurashev, obviously the ELC for Misa, and then Skarek as a league minimum. Obviously extending William Eklund as well. Notable outs, I think Logan Couture resigning. They bought out Vlasic. Kovalenko left to the KHL. Ruta to the back to the Swiss. Gorgiev back to the bin, and that is pretty much the majority of the key outs. Sorry.
I just realized what you said about Gorgiev. Back to the bin.
um. So yeah. So all in all, this team's pretty bare minimum.
Mhm.
Carry prices 10.5 mil is counted in the cap space. So really, they have like 29.3 in cap space, and highest paid player 6.5 mil in Dmitry Orlov, who they just brought in, and that's really just to keep making sure you don't go under the salary cap. And
Yep.
this is a team that should just be eating bad contracts. Um,
Yep.
your Eric Carlson's, your name a player over 10 million that's not playing well, and they should be going to this team for picks or
Yeah,
prospects or
100%.
something like that. And obviously, playoffs, very big long shot. But what are your thoughts on this team for this year and probably onwards as well, considering it is bare minimum.
Oh, nah, I reckon Celebrini, Eklund, 100 points each. Will Smith's going to put up
They
an
could
80
be playing
point
40
season.
minutes a night, so yeah. Nah.
Michael Meese is going to come into this team. He's going to get 60 odd points on the season. Askarov's going to have a 930 Vesna save percentage. Nah, but like in all seriousness, there's not too much else to expect from this team. I mean, it's full of old veteran guys that literally are just out for a paycheck at the moment, essentially. I mean, Tyler Toffoli taking 6 mil. Can't tell me that's not a paycheck thing. And to sort of be there for a bit of a coach for some of these younger players. Same with like Weinberg and Jeff Skinner and that sort of stuff. Like they're just there for a bit of veteran presence to coach these young guys whilst getting themselves some money. The main thing now is seeing the Celebrini, Smith, Eklund, Michael Misa, how they improve, how Sam Dickinson comes through. I'm really hoping he makes the lineup this season. I'd really love to see him getting through there because they are lacking in that sort of defense area, especially prospect wise. They've got a lot of prospects coming through, but I mean, like real ones coming through to make an impact immediately. And then Askarov. So it's really just seeing what these young core players that are going to be the players that take them to their next playoff run and take them for their next cup run. because they've got it. That with Misa coming through, the other prospects that they've got coming up as well, they have this core group now where it's getting to a good 6, 7 players that are all around that 19 to 23 years old. That in 3, 4 years are going to be 22 to 26 years old, really taking them into that sort of
Mm,
playoff berth thing. So I still think they're 3, 4 years off, but I don't think that's any reason to just not watch these guys. I think that they're going to be fun. I think that they're
yeah,
going to be exciting. The stuff that Celebrini was doing last season was insane. I think William Eklund's a fantastic player. And as I said, I'm really interested to see Sam Dickinson come up. Um, I'm hoping it's this season. I want to see Askarov be that goaltender that he thinks he is. That he thinks Nashville has made a massive mistake in signing Saros instead of him. So yeah, I think it all just comes down to how exciting can this young team be? Can they get a few more wins on the season than they did last season, and ultimately just add as much
yeah,
prospects and yeah,
yeah. I'll say my
draft.
worry for the team, I only really just noticed it, is their average age is actually the same, if not worse, compared to
Mm.
some of the teams like the Washington Capitals and stuff that we talk about that are aging.
Yeah,
And it's because you know Toffoli's 33. They brought in Skinner, who's 33. They brought in Orlov, who's
yeah,
34. Obviously, these players are just to fill out the roster and eat up some of the cap space. But they do have Ryan Reeves is 38. They they do have issues in regards to a lot of players that are just fillers for now. Um,
yeah,
sure, if they work out, you flip them at the deadline to a playoff team and see if what assets you can get. It's what you're kind of
yeah,
looking for. Um, but I don't see that much coming from an asset like Brian Reeves, for example. But I did find that quite interesting. So they are kind of no one's in the prime really, besides like Grunstrom, Ferraro, Lilligren, maybe
hmm,
Dehane. The rest are in their 30s, or they're little babies who are still being nursed. So
yeah,
it's kind of an interesting team. They're I feel like they've been 5 years away for the last 5 years, and I still feel like they're 5 years away again.
yeah,
Obviously, Misa fast tracks it once you're running a celebrate. You got your 1-2 punch down the middle,
yeah,
and then you can have whatever forwards on the wings. And obviously, an Eklund Smith really help round out that. That's four of your top six kind of solidified.
hmm,
But I still think they've got a lot to add. Obviously, they've got a ton of cap space, and if I'm this team, I'm knocking on the door for Eric Carlson, a Dougie Hamilton. I can't think of another player who's got a lot of money who should maybe a Darnell Nurse. Um, a- Another player with a lot of money that maybe should be on or could be on the outs.
yeah.
They need to be the number one call, and you obviously want prospects and not picks because you kind of want to fast track it now with your two forwards. But it is a shame to say that it feels like they're still another 5 years away.
Yeah, I think the hardest part for me about this team is going to be the fact that you're probably going to see them waste Celebrini, Smith, Eklund, Misa, um, Askarov. Who was the other one we're looking at? Sam Dickinson. Like, you're going to see them waste most of those prospects cheap years because they're not going to be where they
Yeah,
need
you're
to
not getting
be.
another valuable entry level contract years.
Exactly. So, Celebrini's contract, he's got 2 years left. He's going to be up for renewal. That's going to be pretty expensive. Will Smith's going to be up for renewal. That will be a reasonable cap. Eklund just signed a 3 year, 5.6 million. There's potential that that's going to be close to being up before that they're competitive. So, that is like I still think these guys are going to push to something big, but that's a kind of a disappointing part about it is a lot of teams seem to get a window where it's like it might be 2-3 years with these good solid prospects where they're at cheap contracts, they're not going to get that with these guys because they're going to be probably still bottom of the barrel right up until they're already paying these guys,
And look, this is a
which is a
California
little
team,
disappointing.
so they're going to be getting paid extra because it's California. And because of the cap situation, they'll probably get absolute maximum as well.
Yeah.
So when it comes up, there'll probably be like $1 million or so more than what you probably should be paying, or like
Hmm.
what you would call like, yeah, we're getting a really good money's worth. You'll probably just be like, oh, we're getting what we pay for.
So you got to kind of ask yourself that question on, you know, is one of these guys going to have to make way at some point to bring in 2-3 players that are more
Mm.
depth players? Because right now I see a
I reckon it'd be Eklund if anyone, just because he's older, more points.
mm,
At the moment anyway. Uh,
yeah. I just
if you're going to call someone for that, and he's on a
I
bridge deal.
don't yeah, I don't see this defense really like this isn't going to be the defense that takes them
Oh, you're not gonna see it
to
unless it's on their
playoffs.
D half.
Bloody hell. But like this isn't a decor that's going to take them to the playoffs. Like I think you might see one or two of these players playing for the Sharks when they're going for a playoff spot. That is probably one of the biggest issues I've got with them is where is your defense? Because you don't have a ridiculous amount of young defenders coming through.
Yeah,
I know you've got Lindgren and Ferraro, but they're going to be 30 by the time you're competing. Um,
yeah, you're 100
I
percent
just,
right. They are missing their prospects on the D. Obviously,
yeah,
you want like your core four or something like that, like your two forwards, like a defender and a goalie, or you know, two forwards, two defenders type situation.
mm,
They do not have it. You know, Orlov's a decent player, like, but that's a player you want to put on your like, hey, we're going for playoffs, and he's rounding
mm,
out our decor.
yeah,
Not someone that's going to be your number one or number two type
yeah,
D man. So, um, especially at his age, yeah, you're 100% right. Like they need D prospects. They need it quickly. They kind of need to be going. Who was it? Like Buffalo. Is it what's his name? Bowers. He used to play for Colorado. Like that kind of prospect where he's like
mm,
22, 23, 24, D man, moved around just a little bit, maybe not fitting well at one place. That's your that's your calling to go. And honestly, for they don't have too many draft picks to move around either. For a
mm,
team that's been a rebuild for so long, they really only got like one extra first, one extra second.
yeah,
They're missing with a third somehow. Like they haven't really, yeah, they haven't bolstered the draft pool in that regards. Granted, they've gotten two really great centers now to build around, but you're right. D is the big issue. That's what
hmm
they need to be focusing on, and they need to bring in probably two players minimum um,
yeah,
that are going to be long-standing players.
yeah, yeah, and that's going to be a big thing because you can't just go out one season. And I know these guys have a lot of cap space. They got all these players that are basically next to none of this cap space is actually used cap. Um, so like we're looking at 29 million with carry price and stuff, but in reality, it's like 40 or 50 million even with all of the other guys off. But you can't just go out to free agency and go, all right, we're going to get 5 defenders at free agency. And now we've got a fantastic defense for the upcoming season. It just doesn't work that way because they have to actually meld together and actually be able to play together anyway.
Two, they
You
have
want
to
to
want to
have
go there.
they have to want to go there as well, but you need a core group that you're adding to. You can't just go out and one day and be like, just scrap that whole defense and let's buy a new one that's actually good enough to make the
Well,
playoffs.
I
So
think with this team you could, just because you're not missing much if you scrap this whole team and replaced it with a whole free agency. You're probably
true,
upgrading all in all.
true.
Um,
But you're
but
overpaying
you
as well.
yes, you're 100% overpaying. especially as a team that is not in the like playoff hunt. A player that is kind of at the end of their career who wants to play, 1 or 2 years, and you're getting, like a Corey Perry or something, a $1 million player that will overperform that contract. You're not getting that.
Mm,
Um,
no.
yeah, this team needs to do a lot on that decor. They need to make honestly a lot of trades.
Mm,
If I was, the owner or someone in the office, and I was walking in, and that GM wasn't on the phone making, talking to someone,
mm,
I'd be putting him on the chopping blocks, because I'd be like, "Why aren't you on the phone talking to people? Um, I don't care. You should be doing a carousel, like all
yeah.
31 teams. All right, where you at now? Where you at now? Where you at now?" Um, for this one, because they need to make a lot of moves. Like I said, you're not building a team through free agency, and if you are, it's too expensive. And you can
Yeah.
say, "Oh, we got cap space." That cap space will disappear in 3 years pretty quickly,
Yeah.
like we've already discussed. And so you
Yeah.
still have to be smart about it. And
And that's
yeah,
it.
and
Like,
yeah, it pretty much is like that. That is it. But they need more expensive players,
yeah.
because like not expensive because they're just there, but actually play to that cap, because
Yeah.
6 million on your forward line, like Tyler Toffoli being your number one forward in pay, is
Yeah.
not a good look. Ryan Reeves going to play 80 something games. Oofed. So yeah,
Yeah, it's yeah, Ryan Reeves plays 80 games. Like I'm surprised at that if that happens. You've got Wenberg who's $5 million. I don't think he's a $5 million player. Jeff Skinner, 3 million's not terrible, but he's not a player that you really want right now. Like I look at so many of these players um and what they bring to this team, and like majority of them are just there because they needed to get to the cap
yeah.
floor,
Reeves
which
is to
tells me
punch
that,
people messing with Misa and Celebrini. That's it.
yeah, exactly, which tells
That's
me
it.
they've got no real direction at the moment. They're just trying to add their prospect pool, but that's where I am a little bit worried for them, because as we said, you're wasting all of their free agent years, RFA years, sorry, the entry level contract years. Um, and then you're going to sign them to probably 8 million, 8 year contracts or 7 year contracts. Sorry, it'll be 7 years by the time that they sign, but it's probably going to be 7 by 9, 7 by 10, 7 by 11. Like the the cap's going up, but so is what all these young players are getting. And all of a sudden, you're like Celebrini, 11 million, Smith, 9 million, Eklund on his next contract, 10 million, Michael Misa, 9 million. There goes your cap space, and who are you putting to go with them? Like, I do think that these guys have a good core and they're going to be a team, but at the moment, it looks like it's 5 years from now.
Yeah,
And I
that
don't
is
know
the sad
how
thing.
they fast track that, because I
They
don't
need
see a D core.
they
I don't
need
see,
second round picks, like second round, third round picks. That's how you build a team. Is like you get that second round, third round player that comes through. In my opinion, and the problem is they don't have that, and they're not going to get that. So, the, what you want is second round, third round picks. Obviously, you want to be flipping a Skinner, flipping your UFAs for those players. All their decor is basically UFAs. You want to be flipping that for draft picks at this trade deadline. Obviously, not all, because you need some sort of team to play, but that is what you want to be doing. Whoever's playing minutes, you want to flip them at the deadline, and then you play
yeah,
your bad guys, because you kind of want to finish last again, as crazy it is, and then you have most likely another forward, because it seems forwards in the top, 3 to 5, or in regards to picks, are always forwards in respect
yeah,
in regards to it. So then you're going to be top heavy in regards to forwards, and then you're looking like like a Toronto core four situation,
yeah.
down the road. And that comes to our first point of trading one of the star players.
Which
But
I think they will have to at some point.
yeah,
They're going to have to move one of these guys.
they're going to have to
At,
draft a D man in the next draft.
mhm.
Obviously, if they get first overall, you're not, but they're kind of going to have to, if they don't.
Yeah, you're
That
going
that
to
that they
draft the
need that.
best player. Yeah, you're going to draft the best player
Mm.
available. So if that is a D man, then awesome for them. But if not, you're obviously going to take the forward. But yeah, I do think that if they don't get,
I don't know about that. I think you take the D-man for this team. That's what
oh no,
that's
I
what
mean,
that's what New Jersey been doing, and that's why their D course
yeah.
insane now. But
But my point is, if you've got say like I'm not gonna, you
if
got
you're top
Connor
three, top
McKenna
five
right
pick,
now.
you're taking best available.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, if you're Connor McKenna, if you got Connor McKenna at the moment, Gavin McKenna, sorry, not Connor. I went to say
Connor
Connor McDavid
McDavid,
before.
yeah, get him.
Gavin McKenna. Um,
Tennessee draft Connor McDavid as a
yeah,
30-year-old.
like I don't think you're gonna give up Gavin McKenna.
No, no, no.
Um,
I'm clearly saying like if you're outside the top five, you're probably taking a D-man at that point.
yeah,
I don't know how
100%.
the draft's gonna look. Like maybe there's no good D-man till like pick 20.
Mm,
But that is what they should be looking at. And if that is the case, then you should probably be downgrading your draft pick. You should be,
yeah,
because they pay over fist just to move up 1, 2 spots in that
yeah,
spot. So you can make a killing doing that. And downgrading is a thing, is an option. I think you could make real big bank. But ultimately,
mhm,
this team lacks assets. It's got a bright, small core,
mhm,
core 4, 5, 6.
mhm.
Other than that, it doesn't look great. And it doesn't look great
Yeah,
for another 5 years. And
it
it's a
does
bit
look a
sad.
long way away, doesn't it? And I don't know how you fast track it. I mean, hey, in
It's,
5
it's a lot
years,
of risky stuff if you fast tracking it. It's a lot of.
yeah,
If you're fast tracking it, I think you're like, oh, we'll trade a first for this, or we're trading our seconds for this, and then all of a sudden, if you finish at the
yeah,
bottom, you're definitely out of a job in the GM role. So it's it's another thing of like what's best for the team, and then what's best for keeping my job as well. And
100%.
sometimes GMs don't make that call, but ultimately we'll leave it there. Team, not expecting much again this year. If you're a San Jose fan, I'm sorry, but you got some prospects to actually enjoy watching and seeing how they turn out. So that is the upside. But yeah, ultimately, leave a like, comment below, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time, guys.
I guess.